Simply put, cycles continue to repeat until you break them. So what are you waiting for?
Elevate with Monique. Elevate. Elevate with Monique. Elevate.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Gracefully Elevating with Monique. And of course, I am your hostess, and I'm so delighted that you are here with me today. I want to jump right into this video. Don't forget, the month of October, we are talking about all of the chapters in my book project, Peace Beyond Your Pain. And this is chapter 4 in the book, and it's identifying generational cycles in your life. And you can call them generational curses, generational cycles, it doesn't matter. I believe that when we start to identify the things that are holding us back, the things that we need to release and let go of, or even heal sometimes, part of it is generational cycles, and they don't even belong to you. They actually were inherited, they were passed down through your DNA. For me, I know that there were several generational cycles. As I started to unpack the layers of the pain in my life, I realized that there were generational cycles that I had to learn how to break in order for me to release those tendencies that I too was carrying, right? So for me, for one, I'll be completely honest and say, there were generational cycles in my family of alcohol and drug abuse. And so as I started to identify relatives, even my parents, people in my life that would demonstrate these cycles, I had to be very, very aware of the way in which I moved when it came to alcohol and even recreational drugs like marijuana, because they say marijuana is like the gateway drug and that it can lead to other things, right? And so, if I'm honest with you, as I have been with myself, I had to identify that I had tendencies, right? I had tendencies to become an alcoholic. I had tendencies to be pulled into drug addictions because they were already generational cycles in my life. And I am not getting ready to sit here and lie to you and make it seem like I just had it all figured out. What I will say is that being able to identify those cycles helped me to identify the way in which my behaviors may have been pulling me into one direction that could have repeated generational cycles. Okay. And so, what am I saying? I am saying that it's important to get curious about, a cycle that may have continued to repeat itself in your life. Maybe your stronghold is not drug and alcohol. Maybe your stronghold might have been child abuse or neglect, right? And so the way in which you speak to your children, or the way in which you stay disconnected from them, might be something that you need to pay attention to so that you don't repeat that generational cycle. Either way, no judgment. But cycles show up in our lives until we break them. And if they are cycles that we do not want in our space, it is absolutely imperative that we, one, ask God for the strength to know how to break that cycle, but then two, be willing to do the work, be willing to be curious about what it is that you need to, how you need to make adjustments to not fall into repeating those cycles in your life. I know it can be a little challenging, but you got this. You can absolutely do it. Now, patterns, whether they're financial patterns, whether they are health patterns, think about this. Our parents, right? Um, well, I was raised by grandparents and grand relatives. So my great aunt and my grandmother were the two women in my life. And one of the generational, I'll give you another example of generational cycles. One of the generational cycles that I had to break for myself was around money. I grew up thinking that money was scarce, that it was hard to earn, that I had to hold on to every single dime that I had and not spend it, only make enough to pay bills, like just this survival mindset, right? And it was no slight to my guardians because that's what they knew in their time. But because I had that thought process, that mindset, I moved in that way, which made it very difficult for me to open up various opportunities for money to flow in. It wasn't until I, one, identified this is a pattern that I have, a mental pattern that I have that I don't like, and that doesn't even belong to me. But then two, I don't want to operate this way. I don't want to have this continuation, this cycle in my life. So now I need to look for ways to break this cycle. And the only way that you break a cycle is you replace it with a different one. Did you know that? You don't break a cycle and you just break it and then you walk away from it. That's not how it works. You break the cycle by replacing it with another cycle, another habit, one that you want to continue to perpetuate in your life. So for me, it was learning how to shift my mindset through affirmations, through learning wealth building strategies, through taking risks and pushing myself beyond certain limits. And then it was also understanding that the way that I thought about this thing at this point in my life, I don't have to continue to think about it in that way. I absolutely can do something different. I can change the direction. And I did that. And it wasn't done overnight. It didn't happen because I snapped my fingers. It happened because I recognized the cycle. I decided that I no longer wanted to be married to that cycle. And I replaced it with a new cycle, a new mindset, a new belief system that has helped me move into another direction. So I challenge you, think about any cycles in your life, whether it's around money, whether it's around relationships, whether it's emotional cycles that you continue to see in your life. Maybe you are noticing that you have certain relationships in your life that you don't like, right? But they keep showing up. You keep dating the same person over and over and over again. Well, that's a cycle. So now you've recognized the cycle. Now the question is, why do I keep attracting this person? Hmm. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But when you recognize why you were attracting this type of person, then you realize that you've got to do the internal work for yourself in order to move your life in a different direction and attract a different type of relationship. Just saying. Maybe. I hope that helps. I hope that understanding how important it is to identify your cycles will help you to build new cycles. So I want to ask you a question. What cycles in your life keep repeating and are asking you to break? That is a question that I want you to sit with. I want you to think about. When you grab your Peace Beyond Your Pain workbook, I want you to journal that so that you can start breaking those cycles by replacing them with new cycles that you want in your life. Here's my call to action for you. Find the link somewhere in this video. Go ahead and get you a copy of Peace Beyond Your Pain, both the book and the workbook, so that you can start working through the areas of your life that you are looking to find peace beyond your pain. And then I want you to like this video, share it with someone else that could also benefit from finding peace beyond their pain. And then if this channel resonates with you, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you here. We talk about all things personal elevation here because I believe that it is every woman's right to experience new levels of authenticity, of healing and personal elevation. And that is you, my sister. I love you. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Elevate with Monique.